Shit.
I don't.
Sweet, swat, swoop.
My mom, I love her.
Oh my God. Really? Is this what we're going to go through already? This is what we're starting off with?
Seems that way.
Well, guess what? It's your favorite day of the week. It is Bins Day. Welcome. Woo! We're having a good time. It's been great. There's been no major news stories that will affect 51% of the population at all. So
Did Left
here,
Twi-
But what
Did Left
about
Twix-
the 49%?
What did the left Twix finally win?
Mhm.
The war of the Twixes to finally been settled.
the war of the Twixes, yeah. So more left Twix have been sold over the last they've been dealing with this for like 5 years or something, right? 6 years.
It's been
So-
going on since the Great Chicken Sandwich War.
So, oh God, we're not. that part of history will be erased. Yeah.
Hashtag Popeyes for the win.
Anyway,
I don't even eat chicken. I'm just talking shit.
there you go. Just talking shit about
Just
it.
talking shit. I just like to have a team to root for.
Yeah, there you go. So we're here with, of course, my male counterparts here. There we go. We have Monsieur Wayne the Maker, Jartan, and then there is somebody in the background that you might hear comment. Hi, Val. And then there's Mikey, who is going to be making things fun and interesting, I guess.
Stop it.
And then
I do that in everybody's serious pictures. They hate me for it,
yeah,
and I don't care.
yeah, just make it.
Oh, you're such a rebel, you.
Well,
More-
think about it. 30 years from now, that picture is gonna be fucking hilarious.
Brenna was talking, Mikey.
No, we're not going there. And then we have a interview with Professor Anne LaFaso, who is a law professor and a writer. You know, they law professors do a lot more than just stand in front of a crowd and talk. So we're going to hear from her later with our interview that Jartin and I did with her, and hopefully we'll get an insight on this. But let's start off with just sort of getting just chilling. How is everybody, and what are you all drinking or not drinking, depending on
I'm not drinking.
your feeling.
So, what was that disembodied voice?
Prosecco.
There you go.
There she is.
Val's drinking with us. I am currently drinking tangerine sparkling
so
water. I know. So yeah, got some.
For the uninitiated, Val in Jartan's shot is his bequeathed partner.
Did you
Yes.
pick that?
He was soon to be marrying.
Did you pick that up at Albertsons?
I'm so sorry for you, Jordan. That's true.
It's gonna be a fun show.
I know. Everybody's getting drunk. Actually, picked it up at Vaughn's. Vaughn's is
Vons. That's
it's the slightly higher fancier, more posh.
It's the same company. I used to work for that company. That's why I was like Soleil. I know Soleil.
Yeah, so we have a really nice Vaughn's near us that we were shopping at. Because I had kind of a horrible last week, and especially yesterday. So I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook, but I'm fostering kittens and their mom, and one of the kittens was really, really sick. Liver failure. Wasn't eating, couldn't, no drinking, pooping, peeing all over himself. just
Oh.
not good. And we I kept saying it's a female, but I think it's a male. I don't know. I don't really care at this point. But we took her to the vet that works with the shelter, and they're like, she's gonna die. And so it was either keeping her for another day and watching her suffer, or letting them take her and put her down. And so yeah, we did lost a kitten, but I'm happy to say that the other four and the mom are all perfectly healthy and gaining weight and round and sweet. And
Do you have any hearing left? Because kittens make the highest pitch sound
oh my god, it's so cute.
possible.
It's so cute though.
It sounds like a grenade goes off on you in like the fucking When We Were Soldiers movie, and you just got like that.
But they're
like that.
they're so cute, and they're a little chatty. And we've been like, yesterday, of course, it was May the 4th, and so I did eventually like turn up Star Wars.
Live long and prosper.
I was
Don't you
like,
do that.
I'm just gonna watch Star Wars all day, and nobody's
Yes.
gonna tell me what to do because I need Star Wars in my life. So I snuggle with kitties and Star Wars and sanitize and clean everything. Fed the kitties; they're all happy and healthy. And we're gonna monitor them to make sure that they are. But it was a really, really rough day for me yesterday.
Yeah.
Losing a kitten like that, because it was just so cute and so sweet and beautiful, and unfortunately it was
Sick.
You did your best. You did your
it
best.
was super sick. And there's no way in hell I'm gonna allow a kitten to suffer.
Right.
It kind of reminds me my brother's one of my brother's cats, ironically Dexter, his cat Dexter had kidney failure, and it was like suffering again.
Yeah.
The food, couldn't eat, couldn't pee, couldn't poop, had trouble walking,
Just
and
hurting.
just in so much pain, and you don't want to see that. So I'm actually like, and then today's going to be a little rough, but it's going to be mostly screaming and yelling and
Yes.
swearing.
Yes.
So that's going to be today. Anyway, enough about me right now. Let's move on. Mikey, what about you? How are you? What are you consuming?
Consuming Monster.
Nice.
And I got some wedding cake Kush that I had earlier.
Wedding cake?
Mm-hmm.
Whose wedding have you been to?
Wedding cake Kush.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, what's that one? You're not catching my inside baseball references about something that you have? Oh, okay.
No. So please educate me.
Let me just keep speaking in weed terminology. It's a strain of weed.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Right.
It's called wedding
I wouldn't
cake.
have had. I wouldn't have had a clue.
Something I have. I think my my vape is wedding cake.
It's very, very popular.
Yeah.
Wedding cake is good, but I think next time I go to the dispensary, I'm going back to my OG, which is the lemon cake, which is my favorite.
Oh.
See, I've learned something today.
It's a perfect hybrid of indica and sativa.
There you go. Wayne. Wayne, what has been going on in your life?
I had a very emotional day on Sunday. It's my uncle's memorial. So met up with my dad, who I've not seen since my granddad's funeral. So we seem to only meet when people die. And saw my nan on my mum's side. Yeah, it was an emotional time, but I met up with so many of my family that I haven't seen for a long time. You would say our family is estranged in the sense of we do not regularly hang out. So that was a lovely time, and you've all seen the pictures on my socials. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've done this week, and I'm drinking Shiraz.
Wow,
Shocker.
that's unusual. How do you feel about that?
Um,
Just trying something different.
Figured I'd mix
you
it
know,
up.
I'm broadening my horizons.
Well, it's like spring and getting into summer, so things are just kind of liveling up. So you need a
Exactly.
little something different on the taste buds.
I would guess
100%.
that he was going to have a lovely rosé today, but you know.
You know, that would have been
No.
too predictable.
Yeah.
No, if I turn up with a rosé, shoot me. I'm a pod person.
I was
Hey,
about to say that's not
not
that's
everybody hates rosé.
I'm just saying, if Wayne's
love it.
drinking anything other than Shiraz, where's the
There's-
real Wayne? Come here, you,
There's something.
Exactly. What did you
well-
do with him?
you supplicant.
I want
Did you
to
get
say,
enough sleep?
reach through the camera and shake me.
Yeah, exactly.
When I eventually get to meet Wayne, I am going to take him to a store where they sell wine that has an actual cork and not one of those screw thingies. And then we're going
He
to have
does.
some
He
wine.
won't. You'll have to buy them the opener as well,
Yeah.
because you know there's not one in the
I've got a
house.
corkscrew right in front of me.
No,
It's
And you're going to stab me
in
with it,
here
aren't you?
no, that's
somewhere.
not a corkscrew. That's
Yeah,
that's a rolling pin. That's a pizza cutter.
There's-
None of those things will open up a bottle. Nope, that's a hammer. You're gonna
That
have a lot
will
of
open
glass.
one.
It'll open it,
That
but you'll
will
have a lot
open
of
the bottle, though.
you'll have a lot of glass in your wine.
Yeah.
Well,
Unless you're
that-
into
that-
that.
there is a bottle opener in there. It's just not been used for
Sure,
Uh-huh.
sure there is.
a historical
bet.
period.
You open it up and it goes.
A moth,
It's all rusted.
a moth flies out of it.
Right, there's a. I'm gonna find you the pizza, not the pizza cutter, the bottle opener.
That's not
that
how
I've
it
got.
works, Wayne. You can't use
No,
a
because-
pizza cutter.
I had one where it snapped, the corkscrew snapped in there,
Oh, yeah.
and I had to put a secondary corkscrew in,
Uh-huh.
and the
A rescue
corkscrew
diver's
wrapped-
corkscrew.
yeah, and it wrapped around the
Mhm.
original corkscrew that was in the cork, and it stayed there ever since because you
Uh-huh.
can't get it off.
It's probably because you were standing with a pizza slicer like this on the bottle, waiting for it to open.
Right, I'm gonna.
You were
I'm
probably
gonna,
using a pizza slicer and
talk
a
amongst
rolling
yourselves. I'm
pin.
gonna find it.
Anyway, Jared,
Wayne's got his little apron on. He fucking lowers the oven door. Ooh, can't wait
Yeah.
to try this. He pulls it out. It's his fucking bottle of wine. Fucking puts it on the counter. Gets out the pizza
Ooh.
cutter. Yeah. Pours it in the glass.
wow.
That's how
I
I
actually
roll,
like
Mikey.
that idea. Let's make a video. Of
Actually,
that.
me too. I'm like,
I
I'm gonna
want to
do
do
that.
that.
Right, I'm gonna mute my mic because I need to find this, and I don't want to be all.
I think
loud.
that should be his audition for Bake Off. I think that will be it. Like he'll pull it out and it'll be an actual bottle of wine, and then when he puts it on the counter and gets at the pizza cutter, it's actually going to be a wine shaped bread.
he's got a corkscrew.
Here it is.
And
Look,
then we're
look,
submitting that to
can you
Bake
can you
Off.
see the corkscrew that's wrapped around the corkscrew?
Jesus Christ.
You can't say anything. You can't say anything to Jarsan about fucking parking things up trees when you broke a corkscrew.
Oh my God.
You've
Wayne.
mangled a corkscrew. Like it's
No,
like
okay, Wayne.
Two cars
that's
got smashed
legit.
into
That's
each other.
legit.
Wayne, that is a family heirloom now. Because
really
of
is.
that. No, that will be passed on to your children and their children and so on and so forth.
Daddy,
This is-
tell me the story of the great wine opener again.
Daddy,
Grandma,
Papa,
tell the story about the bottle opener. Grandma, sorry.
You know it's my favourite.
Father, can you tell me about the corkscrew that you broke when you was very young and you kept it for years and years?
all right, Jotan.
That's why I got
how are
screw
you?
caps.
What are you drinking? Let's move on. We have lots of emotional things too. Lots of screaming.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it sucks. After avoiding it for 2 years, I finally got corona.
One of us. One of us. One of us.
Still
Speak
corona
for yourselves.
free.
Yeah,
Look at this.
I
Beautiful
can't breathe.
face.
I'm better now, but I've basically been, passed out for the last 3 days.
Mhm.
So is she. She started it. So it's all her fault.
She.
Wow.
Yeah,
Her-
It's
Val.
her fault.
Yeah,
In-
Val.
Incavina.
So I
Uh-huh.
came home from work feeling fine. She called me. She's like, I think I'm sick. And I was like, yeah, you probably just got what I had like 2 weeks ago. I came home, come Sunday, none of us could breathe. We just passed out the fuck on the couch. And yeah, that's been my week so far. Basically, not been able to do anything
Yeah.
except
She
for
went.
one thing.
She went. You think you're sick? I'm marrying you.
I'm turning 30 this year, as we all know.
Oh, fuck off.
Sure.
Yes, it's true. And Val bought me,
Showbiz age.
and Val bought me a present
Citation
for
needed.
my big day, something that I really needed,
Aw.
and
Another
it
bike?
arrived. And no, something that I needed more than another bike, actually. So it arrived on Wednesday. We're supposed to have
Tree cutter.
14 to 16 weeks delivery time, but it arrived on Wednesday. What did you say?
A tree cutter.
Yes, a tree cutter.
A
tree cutter.
chainsaw
A
to
chainsaw.
get,
little-
to get all your shit back.
So on Wednesday, my two sawn 128 bottle wine cooler just arrived.
Ooh.
It's basically, it's got two zones. You got one for whites, you got one for reds, and you can
It's
change the
segregated?
temperature. Yes.
That's messed up.
Because they're different.
Apartheid.
They have different requirements.
Yes.
Free to Reds.
Jartan,
They do not fare good in the same environment as the white wines.
Wow.
But yeah, so I'm really excited about it, and we are also moving into the new house between May and June. So by the time the Mikey gets over here, or any of you other blasted motherfuckers get over here, we will actually have a place for you to sleep, which we are really fucking excited about. And
I was expecting to just like sleep in the same bed as you guys.
Right.
Yeah, no,
I
we were
like
gonna
a
snuggle.
harem.
I can see the
I
bed
was
right
gonna
there.
Snuggle.
Oh, welcome.
No, I'm still gonna do it.
I thought that was my side on the left there.
You see between the pillows? That's the cat spot. So that's my spot.
That's zero spot.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I
can
can tell
scratch
you,
my eyeballs out while I'm sleeping.
I can tell you one thing. Getting out of this apartment now that we have 7 cats is going to be epic.
Hold up, seven fucking cats in an apartment.
Yep.
We was overcrowded with 4 humans.
I still have 8. I used to have 9. I used to have 9, but I still have 8.
Always the
Most
one.
of them are about this big and cute.
So yeah, no, it's been. I'm really excited about the house, and I'm really excited about the wine cooler, the wine fridge. But Corona, Jesus Christ, that hit me hard.
Yeah.
Jartan, I have a question. You're talking about a wine cooler. I have 2 very important questions with regarding red wine.
Yep.
What are your stances on chilled red wine and fizzy red wine?
Never had fizzy red wine, so I can't really talk about it.
Your Honor, he's dodging the question.
He really is.
Please answer. It is a simple yes or no question.
Objection, Your Honor. The witness is
overruled.
The witness is clearly lying. He knows what that fizzy drink
Permission to treat this as a
hostile witness. And I would say that
Your Honor, the code red.
Wine that's too cold is worse than wine that is too warm. Like cold red wine just doesn't taste right.
Okay. So you're objecting to chilled red wines, but what about fizzy red wines?
Never had it, and it's not something that I'm longing to try either. So I guess
give it a go.
I've had fizzy red wine.
Is it okay?
It's actually pretty good. I like my wines dry, so it was really nice because it was also dry.
Dry fizz.
So it was. It's actually. I believe I was drinking it with Jenna one time when we were. I think maybe the
name drop.
The first episode, I think is it the first or second episode I was drinking fizzy red wine.
No, it's sort of when I think about it,
it's the BJ specialist, but you can only
get
get it
me,
at your Patreon.
It gives me a feeling of you put red wine through a soda stream. It just doesn't feel right.
Well, if you think about, because like red wine's obviously a lot thicker than white wine. If you was to put in a
Oh, it's a
soda
thick
stream,
boy.
it'd be the same kind of consistency as like Coke or something. Yeah.
Cocaine,
So
methamphetamine.
no, Coca-Cola.
Oh.
Other carbonated soft drinks are available. So I'd imagine it'd be like that. I've never tried it myself, but I find the thought of it kind of.
If you take half Fizzy Red,
You know
half
what?
Coca-Cola, that's how you get Dr. Pepper. That's science.
You know what? I'm gonna talk to my brother's fiance because she's
My best friend, Shald.
yes, she's a sommelier.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask her to recommend for me a fizzy red wine. I'm
She's
gonna
gonna
buy a
slap you.
bottle and I'm gonna try it.
All
We
right.
need to have a special about we have to drink wine. So we have to have like we each bring a couple bottles of wine or
I do it every
glasses.
week.
You bring the same ass fucking
Yeah,
bottle of
I'm
Shiraz
saying
over
something
and over.
and we learn from maybe somebody who knows something about wine. Not you, Wayne.
Now how about this?
And
How about we
drink
actually
it together.
how about we have like
An
a live
OLG drink.
we can do a libations episode.
Yeah.
Bring on the sommelier, and then maybe we can like coordinate. We all get the same bottle, and then we'll just all kind of.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that is
think
a
that-
bouquet there.
Yeah, but we do. This needs a coordination because of import and exports and stuff like that. A lot of the wines that you can buy, we cannot buy, and vice versa. So
That's fine.
Well,
we just have to-
let's start with something like 19 Crimes because we all
Good
can get a
stuff.
hold of that.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
All right, we have to move on. We have a lot to do, and we have the interview that we have to get to. So, and welcome to the show.
Oh.
All right.
Just starts on its own there.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't warn me
Yes.
about that. It just started going.
Yes.
Showtime, why don't you do the introduction for this?
Yes, I will. So earlier today, me and Brenna had a very nice conversation with Anne-Marie LaFaso, which is the Arthur B. Hodges Professor of Law at West Virginia University College of Law, where she teaches labor law, employment law, advanced labor law, comparative international work law, jurisprudence, law, and socioeconomics, and in the WU.S. Supreme Court Clinic, which she co-founded with Jones Day partner Larry Rosenberg in 2011. She has done numerous publications. She also writes for the Oxford. Jesus Christ, what was the name of it?
I remembered Oxford, and that was it.
Something Oxford.
Yeah, something Oxford. She went to University of Oxford in Oxford, England, the University of Philadelphia Law School, and Harvard University in Cambridge, Michael London in 1987. So, basically, a very noticeable law professor, and she.
Oxford 2016 Oxford Senior Academic Scholar at Uni of Oxford.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
What he said. So, without further ado, we are going to mute our mics, and Wayne has not listened to this, and Mike has heard some of this, and after the interview, we're going to discuss it some, and I hope you enjoy it. Anne LaFaso, thank you so much for joining us. You are a professor of law on the University of West Virginia, and we've asked you to come here today to at least educate me a bit about the American legal system, because according to Politico, there has leaked a memo that says that the Supreme Court has voted to overturn abortion rights, according to this draft opinion. What does that mean?
Okay, so what that means, first of all, it's a draft opinion, so it can change, but it does seem that there are at least 5 votes to 3 with one person on the fence. So if it were to change, you'd have to really change someone. It would be pretty drastic. So it looks like that Roe v. Wade is going to be overturned in a few weeks. Are you asking what does that mean in terms of what's going to happen in the United States when that happens?
So yeah, that was my next question. The first was, what does a draft opinion mean?
Okay,
this
so
is-
let me finish that then, if that's okay. So a draft opinion is just something that goes through to all of the justices. That means Alito wrote this draft based on right after the oral argument, what they decided how they were going to vote tentatively. So that meant it was probably 6-3 with Roberts saying, I just want to see the opinion exactly where you're going, upholding this Mississippi law, holding this particular state law. So then the other justices get to say what they don't really like, what they want to change, and the dissent gets to write something, and then the majority can respond to the dissent. So there would be more edits going on. So this is just a draft opinion.
And that goes to the next question. Roe versus Wade, it's a landmark decision from 1973, if I'm not mistaken,
Right.
which basically says that every woman has a right to choose abortion, to choose to terminate a pregnancy if she deems so necessary.
Right.
Yes. So what would that entail if that is overturned, and why is it on the table now?
Okay, so two things. One is that it's actually two cases that are being overturned. It would be Roe versus Wade and also Casey, which is a 1990.
That is the Planned Parenthood.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So what they said, if you read them together, is that a woman has an unfettered right to end her pregnancy before viability, and then after that, there can be it can be banned. What states have done is they've put restrictions on before this. Given the state of the law, they were putting restrictions on this, but nothing in terms of actually outright banning abortion. But given that how this started was that in during the Obama era, Obama was not unable to appoint a Supreme Court justice, even though he had a year to appoint someone to replace Scalia. When Scalia died on February 13th of the year of the election, even though it was over almost a year before there would be a transition of power, the Republicans had control of the Senate, and the Senate has to give advice and consent. So that seat did not get to change to a Democratic seat.
Merrick Garland, right?
Say again?
Merrick Garland?
Merrick Garland, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Attorney
then instead
General.
of it going to Merrick Garland, who would have been a very, just a neutral choice, really, very moderate choice, it went to Trump. And Trump put in that seat Neil Gorsuch. And Neil is I called him Neil because I actually went to graduate school with him. So I forgot,
He's your buddy.
We did go to graduate school together, and we did have lunch quite a lot. But
Okay.
Anyway, Justice Gorsuch is a conservative, and he has suggested that he would overturn Roe versus Wade. And then another seat became available, and that was Justice Kennedy's seat. So that went to Brett Kavanaugh. And then finally, when Ruth Bader Ginsburg, when she passed away, that was the seat that went to Amy Coney Barrett, and she is very, very conservative, especially on this issue. So you had enough votes now to clearly be able to overturn Roe versus Wade. So states became very aggressive in enacting laws that would currently be unconstitutional, but they thought that the court would take to overturn Roe versus Wade. So that's what happens in states, even though it was unconstitutional, started enacting laws that at the time were unconstitutional, but they thought would be upheld by the United States Supreme Court.
I only knew of one. I knew of the Alabama one, which is, for all intents and purposes, from what I understand, horrible. But there are, as you say, more than just the Alabama one. There are more
states. There's the Texas one, which also is famous, and there's tons of laws.
There's the headhunting one, which is the Texas one, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's the 6-week, and then there's also a lot of little ones that kind of have been coming up where it's like closing clinics that don't have the right facility for performing these types of surgeries. And
right.
So those have closed clinics or just ended funding for that. So
yeah, so what happens is the state legislature will say, we don't think you can perform an abortion safely because you don't have privileges at a hospital that's within 30 miles of you. So this closes all these abortion clinics that are in rural areas because there are no hospitals within 30 miles. So, yeah.
Is that the admission thing that they were talking about? I listened to the We Word, a podcast with two Stanford doctors, and they talked about this thing where you have to have admission privileges to be able to perform abortion under some of these laws.
Yes. Yes. They go together. So there's sometimes admission privileges and also the how far they are away. Sometimes they're both together, but the admission privileges also, a lot of times a small abortion clinic won't have admission privileges because they don't need it, because abortion's a very safe procedure. And to get admission privileges might cost a lot of money, or the hospital won't even give them admission privileges not because they don't want them to perform abortions, but because they're not bringing any business in. So they're just not going to give the doctor admission privileges. So there's this practical, for example, in West Virginia, it's technically legal to have an abortion, but there's only one abortion clinic in the entire state.
I've heard that. But okay, but so just for a dummy like me to understand, who's not grown up in your legal system, I need to understand. So these states, they put forward these laws that are essentially unconstitutional. Do they get like sued or contested in some way, and that's why they end up in the Supreme Court? What happens to get to this point?
Okay, so the law is then passed, and then someone who doesn't like the law will usually it's a doctor that's bringing it on behalf of pregnant women. And the court has said that they're allowed to do that. Normally we have to have something called standing. So you have to be affected by it. So it's usually would be the pregnant woman, but they've allowed doctors that perform abortions to do this. So a lot of times it can be doctors, and there'll be amici, that mean friends of the court, that will write like the ACLU or NOW, or, a women's reproductive group, freedom of reproduction group. And they will bring these cases and say, this is unconstitutional.
And then the Supreme
And
Court.
then the court, then the courts will normally at the Court of Appeals level, they'll take it down because Roe versus Wade is still, and Casey are still the law. And then you only need 4 votes at the Supreme Court level to get certiorari. Certiorari means the court will review the case. So 4 justices have to decide that they want to review the case. So here, at least 4 justices decide they want to review the case. And they heard the case back in the fall or the winter. I forget whether it was November or December, but it was around there. And now you have this 98-page draft which is as draconian as it can be.
So I have a question about what does overturning, because this is not law, what does overturning Roe versus Wade or some of the other, even some of the ones that they're like talking about, what does it mean to overturn? What's the process in that? And then what happens after something is overturned?
Okay, so Roe versus Wade is precedent, and it says that a woman has or Roe and its progeny say that women have a fundamental right to reproductive freedom, to an abortion.
So is that an equality thing? Is that
no? It's actually not an equality thing. It's a substantive due process, and that's going to be really important. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's going to be really important because of what's going to happen. Okay. Yes. So what the court has said, women have this fundamental right under the substantive due process clause, which is the 14th Amendment, which says that that guarantees all people the right to life, liberty, or property. And that shall not be taken away without due process of law. Okay. So here is the woman's life, liberty, and property. It's her reproductive choice. And that comes under this umbrella or penumbra of different things that are found in the Constitution. But Roe and its progeny hinged on this idea that they were unenumerated fundamental rights.
Okay.
So enumerated rights are like the Bill of Rights, like freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, freedom of to petition the government, freedom to bear arms. But there's nothing that says you have a right to an abortion.
Right.
But there are things that basically say you have a freedom to privacy in your property, like, for example, the Fourth Amendment.
Right.
Okay. So conservatives like to define your rights very narrowly. And the more narrow you define it, the less likely you are to find it in the law.
Right.
So if you notice, Alito defines the right here as the right to have an abortion, as opposed to a woman's right to have bodily autonomy.
Right.
Okay? So when you define it that way, then all of a sudden, of course, there's not going to be a right to abortion in the Constitution.
Right.
It's not specific. There's nothing in the Constitution that's specific like that.
Right.
Okay. So what this means, and you say, okay, but there's the Equal Protection Clause. That's going to be the safe haven, right?
Mm-hmm.
He expressly states in the opinion that this is not a woman's issue, that this is not about equal protection. And we can't change that because our cases dictate that this is not an equal protection issue. We can't overturn those cases, but we can overturn this one.
Right.
So it's completely hypocritical.
Right.
And that's the problem. So it's not, so we can't go under, if it were a woman's issue, then it would be heightened scrutiny.
Yeah.
And then you would look to see if there was, the purpose was to actually put these burdens on women, which there would be. And then it would be struck down much more easily.
Yeah.
But they expressly will not do that.
Okay.
So Roe versus Wade and Casey versus Planned Parenthood, that is like two cases stacked upon each other.
Yes.
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 Sort of.
Yeah, they co-align to be, strengthen the woman's right to, as you said, autonomy. But what would the ramifications be if the Supreme Court now, this draft, it turns out to overturn Roe versus Wade and Casey versus Planned Parenthood? What would happen next?
Okay, so that means there no longer is a protection, that the Constitution on abortion. Others are trigger laws, that they enacted laws after Roe, just in case Roe is overturned, that ban abortion. And then there's the other states that basically allow abortion. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's
California.
Like, right,
Definitely
right.
California.
So
We're actually getting trigger laws that are going to start going. Our governor has said that, like, about crossing borders and stuff, so people can come over to California and get abortions as part of California state law.
All right, American Law 101, trigger
Yes.
law.
There we go.
It just means it would it's just a law that's on the books that says something like, this law goes into effect immediately if Roe versus Wade and Casey are overturned. That's all it is. So we're just calling it a trigger as
Get it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
So, but
Yeah.
West Virginia has a law in the books that was from the early 1800s. And that was when it was Virginia, was part of Virginia. And then in the Civil War, of course, West Virginia ceded from Virginia. And so West Virginia has a law in the books that makes it a crime, a felony, for anyone to help a woman have an abortion, punishable by no less than 3 years and no more than 10 years imprisonment. Which means that even though right now the West Virginia law is you can have an abortion up to 22 weeks, that who would perform it? Because that law would then no longer be enjoined. So right now there's an injunction against that law that was put up in 1975 by the courts that says you can't enforce that law. But once Roe is overturned, then all you have to do is have the Attorney General go to court and lift the injunction. That could take a day. And then all of a sudden abortion is a crime, punishable by 3 to 10 years imprisonment in West Virginia.
So
Here's the doctor that will perform that abortion right there. Like,
which was my next question. So I've read up about this because I fear that if this gets overturned in the United States, we do have a Christian fundamentalist party. We do have some very dangerous Nazis trying to get into power in Sweden as well, and that this will happen here. So I had to read up, and between 75 to 80% of all abortions happen between week 10, before week 10, right? Then almost every abortion happens up until week 15, if I'm not mistaken, of those 20%. Only a very small margin of abortions happen around 18 to 20 when you have your ultrasound and you find something that is medically very wrong and poses a danger to the child or the mother, and you have to do an actual surgical removal of this child, of this fetus. I'm sorry, and often at this point, it is a very hard decision for the parents to make because they've started to acclimatize to the situation. They're looking forward to their baby and so on and so forth. Mostly all of, if not every abortion up until 10 weeks is a medical abortion. You take 2 pills, and which makes the uterus contract, and it pushes the embryo, which is basically what it is at that point, out. When we know that 75 to 80% of all abortions happen within that time span, and also almost 90% of miscarriages happen within that time span, how would you know if the woman has had a medical abortion of pills that she bought off the internet, or if she's had a miscarriage? Are we going to have doctors going home to women to check up on their pregnancies and look at their uterus to see? I don't understand. How would you enforce such a law?
Well, a medical abortion, like getting something off the internet, they could try to regulate that, and that they could maybe find out who's getting that. Right now, I don't think they would be able, that has been really contemplated by the law. So I'm not sure that would be immediately regulatable or would be regulated immediately. But in Texas, if that law goes through, then if your mom knows, or your grandma or your grandpa knows that you got a pill, they could just bring you into the station and have you arrested for doing that.
Or even if you talk about it.
Right.
And then you end up having a miscarriage or something. I mean, this is the problem with this headhunting thing, right? It stops it being a legal issue, and then it puts it on other people, and it makes it really easy to get like $10,000 for anybody just to go in and say, well, that person bought birth control pills. Does that mean that they're trying to get an abortion? Or like there's weird little things that are going to happen because of something like this headhunting thing. And it could go across now to other states that have the same thing.
And if this continues, I mean, we are looking at the beginnings of The Handmaid's Tale, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we're not there, but I mean, there has been already protests. I've been, my daughter's a student at William & Mary, and I was driving through Richmond and then into Williamsburg, and there were tons of already protests in Richmond, which is the capital of Virginia, and then at William & Mary, which is a school, a university. There are already so many protests. There are protests even in West Virginia.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure in California, all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But that we expect. But they're even in Virginia and West Virginia, there are protests. Yeah. The problem is that the way our country is gerrymandered, it favors those who have more socially conservative values.
Right.
I don't want to say Democrat versus Republican. I want to say socially conservative values, because there are Republicans who are actually liberally are liberal on a socially liberal, but just are more conservative fiscally.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see if they end up saying, no, we're going to just vote Democrat for the time being.
Well, this I think is what's interesting. If we've obviously seen polls just put up on NBC, all that, about where people stand on this issue, especially like progressing through the decades. But it is, according to the polls, more favored to maintain, if anything, maintain Roe versus Wade, regardless of Democrat, Republican, Independent, which is why it's so unusual to see such a major right-wing conservative opinion on this when it comes to the courts, even though most of the country, regardless of where you stand, even conservatives think that it's not something that they're allowed to talk about. Like it's precedent, as we've heard the word, about this particular, about mostly Roe versus Wade, whether or not it's abortion or pro-life, pro-choice, blah blah blah, but about maintaining Roe versus Wade.
So basically what this means is, as you said, it's the first step towards the Handmaid's Tale. Is it preventable? Is there anything to do? And what can people out there do now?
Well, young people tend not to vote. Young people are overwhelmingly socially liberal. So young people actually need to vote. And I'm not trying to chastise anyone, because it is our leaders' fault more than us, okay? But what I'm saying is, what each one of us can do is we can vote and not vote for anyone who is not pro-choice. And pro-choice means the choice not to have an abortion, okay? There are many stories of women who were forced to have an abortion before 1973. All right. So this protects their rights as well. What doesn't protect everyone's rights is what this opinion stands for. So that's one thing that people can do. I think they need to protest peacefully. It doesn't help to have violent protests. Never helps. It turns people away. But peaceful protest will I think, be important. And I think student organizations, I believe this really will rile up young people, because what's also on the chopping block, and what people need to understand, is that the way Roe versus Wade was attacked, it was attacked at its core. The core is what is also the foundation of the right to birth control. So if Roe goes in this direction, that means there's no protection for birth control either. That's the next step. And the next step
What?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Roe versus Wade is based on Griswold and the finding, a case called Griswold from 1975, and the finding that there's liberty is found in privacy and intimate choices of who to have sex with, whether or not to have children and have your family, what kind of family, is grounded in these unenumerated rights. So what they're saying is they're narrowing and saying we need to find these enumerated rights. And we certainly don't think there's an unenumerated right to privacy. What does that mean? And he says this whole pages on this. And he goes through and says there was never a right to an abortion. Well, there was never a right to birth control either. So birth control is gone. Same-sex marriage is gone. All of these rights are gone.
That's what they want.
They're not gone after this case, but they're gone. That's the logical next step. Is all you have to do is bring the case to the Supreme Court. It's based on exactly the reasoning, the same reasoning. So that means every gain that socially liberal people got in the last 50 years, 60, 70 years will go up in flames.
We'll see. We'll probably see Obamacare go down as well.
Well, you weren't joking about that whole Handmaid's Tale analogy.
Yeah, it's everything that we've been working towards for 30, 40, 50 years is going to be gone.
Right. If you think abortion's 50 years, 65, that's 56 years ago. That's birth control, 56 years.
As we know, things like interracial marriage is actually now on the chopping block.
Yes, interracial marriage from 1970, 71, whatever Loving versus Virginia was, is gone. It's on the same exact reasoning.
Yeah.
It's meaning there's no fundamental right to interracial marriage. Yeah. This goes back to this idea of it goes back to an idea when women were property of men, when some men, only a subset of white men.
Right.
But, all right.
Yeah.
But wow. Really?
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
So,
rich white dudes. That's it.
So wow. So basically, because of the foundation of all of these Supreme Court standings, they are all on the chopping block if Roe versus Wade gets overturned on these reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
They can say, yep, it's up to the states whether they want to protect interracial marriage. It's up to the states whether they want to sell birth control. It's up to the states.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and that's a political discussion. I'm not going to say with you, but for me, it's very hard to understand why you want this union at all if you don't want to, you don't want to abide by any rules. You don't want to do anything with the federal. Well, you want the federal grants, of course. You want the good stuff, but you don't want to adhere to any federal rules. I don't understand your union anymore. It doesn't make any sense to me anymore. I don't. Yeah. I'm getting more and more frustrated because just your union doesn't make any sense.
A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people have been saying for years that we're going to have a civil war. And at first, when people said that, other people were saying, oh, you're an alarmist. But the more and more you see, there's just a really split in values that people have, just like there was a split in values over slavery. And we can say there were a lot of people in the North that didn't care. But it was about slavery. Whatever you want to say, it was about slavery. Maybe some people didn't, were anti-slavery for economic reasons, but there were a lot of abolitionists. Here, this is a moral value. And one side says, look, we are saying freedom for all to choose. The other says, no, you don't have a freedom to choose because my religion tells everyone that it is immoral to have an abortion, my religion. Right. And they're imposing their religion and their religious beliefs on everyone else, which should be against our Constitution. Mm-hmm. But instead, our 5 or 6 of our Supreme Court justices don't see it that way. They don't see it that way. They say, nope, democracy is the important value over even this freedom that we were founded on freedom. Yeah. So that's the problem. So yes, I think there could be a civil war over this.
So one term that I've heard a lot over the last 4 or 5 years since Merrick Garland, the whole Merrick Garland getting blocked by Mitch McConnell in the Senate and all of that, is stack the court, right? So that means that you put more judges on the court because a Supreme Court justice, that's a lifetime appointment. And the appointees that Trump put forward are very young. Mm-hmm. They will be there for years and years and years. And all of the conservative judges are fairly young. They'll be there for quite some time. Is that the solution going forward? Should they put more justices in there? Should they put a new bill forward that you serve a term as Supreme Court justice? What is the solution there? How can you solve that problem?
Okay, so those are great solutions, but the problem is that you have to have a majority. You have to have the president and a majority in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, and there is a majority of Democrats in both right now because you have 50 plus the vice president of the Senate. But my Senator Manchin and some other senators don't want to go in that direction. So you don't have the political will. So unless there is an overwhelming mandate at the next election or sometime in the future, that solution is not going to work. So the court packing solution is a political solution, but that means you have to have the political power to do it. Which
and we don't have we have too many, as you like mentioned, that we have apathetic voters,
right?
Who don't think, either don't care, don't think their vote matters, or some other reason about like they didn't register in time, or they don't think they're going to be age appropriate by that time, right? 18 as ours. But
let me tell you, there's one more thing also.
Yeah.
Sinclair is a news media conglomerate that owns a lot of news stations and gives out extremely right-wing, mostly propaganda. So mostly
I saw the John Oliver episode.
Yeah.
So, okay. So exactly. So what, like my neighbor will start talking to me about things, and she is a lesbian pipe fitter, meaning a union person. And she will start saying all these things about Biden. And I'm like, do you understand if Republicans get in power, then your rights to be with your girlfriend are going to be gone? And she's like, oh, that's not going to happen, because they're being brainwashed about what's going on. And they don't. And then she said to me, but I don't know who to believe anymore. I said, read the originals, read the actual, but they don't have time, especially take my state. My state is poor. Right? My state has people that are trying to just make ends meet. They don't have the luxury I have as a law professor, and I make enough money for myself, and I can just read things. So I know what the truth is. I know to distinguish between this and this, because I can actually read primary sources. Yeah. They're just getting this fed to them. Right. So that's another problem, is that who owns the media there's a lot of propaganda out there. Right. I mean, they're even saying, they are starting to give the message that January 6th, the insurrection, is no different from Black Lives Matter protests, even though there's no deaths in Black Lives Matter protests, but there was violence. There's not major violence in these Black Lives Matter protests, but there was major violence, and there was an attempt to do a coup d'etat in our country, and that is completely being erased from history.
Right. And that's dangerous, especially when, the information trickles down. So, you got the parents to the kids, and then the kids do it to their friends. And then by the time it gets to these election cycles, which we're just starting on primaries right now, which kind of moves the important people up, or, it starts becoming like a chore. And it starts becoming, they start getting overwhelmed. And I think I said this a few weeks ago on ours, but like, we need to do the European thing. Shorten everything. Shorten it to 2 weeks before. And then just get it, just so that the information is straightforward. There's less likely to be propaganda. And then these issues that have arisen can actually be dealt with and talked about academically, instead of, like you said, propaganda. Exactly.
So before we let you go, and we've gone a bit long, I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak your mind and tell what you believe needs to be said about this.
I think people need to speak very frankly about it, that this is not about saving life at all, that this is about, that this decision actually is likely to increase the death of full human beings, that this is about choice, that the other side that's now losing is basically does not have a choice, whereas those who want to not have an abortion still have that freedom. So it's actually hurting people's own religious beliefs, their freedom of conscience. This is hurting rape victims, incest victims, children. 11-year-olds can be forced to have children now. This is
you can marry them, and then they can have children. Like,
that's a different law.
That's another law.
They lowered the age of the marriage age, and now you can force them to have children young. And so they can
people have to understand that this has to stop before we are getting to a point where the snowball will be unstoppable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was Professor Ann Lafaso. We thank you so
Thank
much. We
you
hope to have you back on
so-
as soon as new information comes in on this. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We thank you so much, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you both. I really
All right.
appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Hello. Where's your turn?
He was just there a second ago too. He was literally just there.
Wow, that
All
was
right.
Brenna. To you and Jartan, absolutely brilliant interviewing skills. Loved it.
You know, we were really trying to get a little bit more of an academic sense of what's going on, and we needed somebody who had an academic feel for what is going on and understanding it, because we're just getting thrown words around.
No, that was bang on point.
Precedent. We have Roe v. Wade. We have Casey. We have trigger. Trigger laws. We have all these things that not a lot of people understand, because it's not something that we talk about, because this is the major thing that has been going on. This is the biggest Supreme Court decision of any of our lives. Even before our lives, this was a big thing.
Mikey, could you give a rating to our co-host's interview ability, because that was really good. I was really enjoying it.
I think I give him 4.5 out of 5 mics.
Whoa!
You know, it's a strong
And less
90.
for me, right? Because I'm a woman.
What? That's not how any of this works. That's how any of this works. Yeah, that's not how ratings work. That's what the rating. I give the rating. That's for the both of them. What is happening? No, it was a great interview. One thing, I think you threw off my train of thought. I forgot what I was going to say now. Damn it. Someone else go. I'll come back.
You're welcome.
I lost it.
Yeah. So Jartan, unmute your mic, idiot.
Yep. I'm here.
Giving you and Brenna praise your interviewing technique. That was really good. Really enjoyed that. And yeah, you came at it in a very nice way and a very diplomatic way. And yeah, that was great content. Thank you.
We try.
This is
It was also important, like, for me, as a European and very limited understanding of the American judicial system, I needed some help to understand what's going on and how we got to this place, and what is our redemption, what is our
way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hearing from somebody who knows a lot about these things, that there isn't really a way out. It's just gonna get a lot worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
That was a tough blow for me, and I think you saw from my reaction, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Definitely.
I remember now. One thing I want the Europeans, and especially people who aren't like super politically active, they've been trying to do this forever.
Since Roe v. Wade.
Trying, and they couldn't get it through. We had enough right-minded people to stand in the way and stop it. And everyone thought it was hilarious to vote for the reality guy. That's so funny. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Let's shake things up a bit.
How crazy would it be if we elected? Wouldn't that be crazy? I just want to see what happens.
I don't want the boring lady.
This is what fucking happens. You guys hold on. I'm in mid-rant. Jesus.
I said there's going to be a lot of yelling and swearing. So
this is not a fucking experiment.
Yeah.
This is people's lives. These are young ladies' lives. They're going to get thrown out of their fucking house. What do all lives matter then? They might take matters into their own fucking hands in 2022. And this is okay because your fucking book says let's do it? Are you fucking kidding me? These are little ass girls, man. Making, because I went a little bit into this on my stream last night, but
Mikey, just go.
Don't even worry
I'm
about it.
trying to remember the words. That's all.
No.
We find the right words to say in the right order. It's I spoke about a young lady from my past in a situation that we got in. And this, by all standards, now that I'm an adult, not that big of a deal. Little condom, oopsie, morning after pill. Probably wouldn't have been pregnant anyway. Probably wasn't ovulating. So the chances of her actually being pregnant were very slim. But even that decision tore me up. Because I was still a fundamentalist Christian back then, and how could I do this? And my life is over, and oh my goodness. And that's me.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. I'm not even the one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I was worked up about it. I was upset for months about that. Months. I almost got put out. And it wasn't even me. Can you, and when you're fucking, and when you're that age, when you're 16, 17, 18, even up to like 20.
I would say 30. I would say 30. Oh my God. You do not know who you are until you're at least 30.
Right.
At least.
But these kids are making the hardest decision of their lives up to that point.
Yeah.
It is traumatic. It is not some blase thing. It's not used as fucking birth control. It is the hardest fucking decision that they may have to face in their young lives. So let's make it fucking harder.
Yeah.
Let's make it so that you have to fucking get an Uber across 4 fucking states because you live in the fucking rural South. You know, in Mississippi, they had 1 fucking clinic that did abortions. The population,
West Virginia too.
the population in fucking Mississippi is fucking 3 million people.
Yeah.
So if we assume that half of them are women, 1.5 million women have to use the same fucking facility. Even if it was open every day, there would be fucking, 20,000 women in there a day if they wanted to get a checkup. It is staggering the amount of bullshit that women have had to put up with in this fucking country.
Mm-hmm.
It is fucking staggering.
And I think the thing that we need to address right now is we have a co-host that has not delivered her emotional statement to this, and I really want you to, Brenna, because you've got 3 blokes in here who have opinions, but the autonomy of your body is yours, and we have absolutely no fucking right at all to tell you how your autonomy is to be delivered. So could you please, for our audience, just tell us what this actually means as a woman?
So right now, if I'm okay in an academic sense, if Roe versus Wade and Casey versus Planned Parenthood gets overturned, which is the first on the chopping block, are those two because they coincide with each other.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about that in the interview where we have trigger laws or already laws set in the book. California, here in California, I am one of the luckiest states in this country. We have complete protection of abortion rights. complete across the board. We're actually getting more protections are going through because Gavin Newsom, our governor, recognizes that Roe v. Wade will be shot down unless something dramatic happens.
It's shocking. It is shocking.
Where there will even be more protections from anyone outside of the state seeking their abortion rights. So they're already going through this right now. That's the academic sense. I myself, I am safe here, but I am not everybody in the entire country, and I'm not everybody in the entire world. This is not just about Roe versus Wade. This is just the marquee. This is the headliner. The rest that comes after this affects every single solitary person in this country that is not rich white men. In a personal sense, I am a woman. I am a fertile woman of childbearing age, which means anytime my own personal health decisions, regardless if it is about abortions or various methods of birth control, but even accessing if I need hormones for any reason, for thyroid problems run in my family, I'll need hormones eventually of some sort. Even that can be considered birth control. And if somebody takes that away from me, that is hazardous to my health. If somebody can take away the women's health rights that we've been working towards, that affects me. That affects my neighbor. That affects the people I teach. That affects the people I run into at the grocery store. That affects people who are that comment online. Every single person that is not a rich white straight man, their rights are going to be easily taken away if this goes through, because this idea that if it's not there in the Constitution, written in black and white, then it's not worth talking about. It's not worth saving. So even to the point where interracial marriage, which is something that is actually fairly new, it's just about as old as Roe versus Wade, that even that can be struck down. We could be looking at a serious issue to the point where we could be back to when the founding fathers, good job, conservatives, where they ruled rich, white, straight men. And that is frightening to me because of everything that we've been working towards. Every civil rights that we are still fighting, regardless if it is about people of color, about women, LGBTQ+, about Native American rights, about immigration rights. Everything that we've been doing, just workplace equality, institutional equality, health equality can be taken away because, as Mikey said, exactly, the guy with the funny hair was just more interesting than the boring woman. The plain old boring woman was not interesting enough, and thus we have to destroy everything that we've been working towards because y'all thought it was funny. This is not funny anymore. People are going to die. Fuck that. Fuck old white men in this. This is exactly what they've always wanted. This is exactly what they've been begging for.
Control.
Since the slaves were free. Since the perfect reason about why the South seceded from the Union was
seceded
from the Union was because they wanted only rich white landowning men to be in control, and if they couldn't get that, they were going to leave. We had wars about this. We have people being lynched because of this. We have women getting murdered because of this. We are still seeing, as of today, we are seeing women being murdered for just being themselves, for just living. We are seeing our rights fundamentally taken away, and this is this is not the drop in the bucket. This is the whole goddamn ocean.
Yeah.
I don't understand why everybody's so comfortable with just allowing people to erode your civil rights.
We're not, Brenna. We're not. And
not us.
Not us.
No, we're not. And what you just said there was so powerful and so absolutely meaningful in the sense of we need to keep fighting against this shit because this is bullshit. Like, for instance, you say about interracial marriage. Mikey would not be bequeathed to his missus if this kind of thing carried on. I would not exist. It's really hard to think that these kind of mentalities are still perpetuated in modern society. And we like, I know we're in our little echo chamber and we talk amongst ourselves, but it's so hard to think that this kind of thing carries on in just normal society.
In Western society.
Yeah. And then we chastise like people in the Middle East for chopping hands off for stealing and all that kind of stuff. But then we carry on doing our shit.
This is Jesus Sharia law.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. And you're right. We're looking, if you look at this from the actually perspective, and this has been going on for years, where we're, when we're talking about something like Sharia law or the Taliban, which is basically Sharia law in action, right? When somebody, talks about stoning women to death for, going outside on her own, like, that's not too far off from what we're doing right now.
It's not too far off from the death penalty.
It's fundamentally equivalent to that type of ruling. Now, our new phrase is Handmaid's Tale, right? We've been that's been in our mindset for a while now, is that's become what we are seeing. where women will have only one thing that they're allowed to do. They're only allowed to bear children and raise them the way that the man wants them to.
Is it an arrogance of the West that think that we are the superior way of living morally and individually? Is it our arrogance that has blinded us to the actual hypocrisy of what we depict when it comes to casting dispersions on other people? We sit there and say, oh, look at these Arab states that chop people's hands off for stealing, but at the same time, you've got the death penalty in America. Is there some kind of disconnect between those 2 points? Because they're kind of hypocritical. That's not a word.
Hypocritical.
Hypocritical. Sorry. Hypocritical.
It's with an accent. Hypocritical is an accent.
Hip Hop Anonymous. Yeah. Damn you!
Sorry.
No.
I'm thinking out loud right now.
We're gonna watch Flight of the Conchords, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm thinking out loud.
I was watching Big Daddy.
Yeah.
There's a hypocrisy amongst us in the West or Europe who are saying that all these savages over there in the Middle East are wrong uns, but then we're executing people and imprisoning people for life all the time.
You like nailed that. I mean, where did this whole thing start? It started with the Europeans looking for resources, and then
shit.
And then what happens with that? Well, if somebody's on that land, such as, I don't know, the Native Americans, right?
Or the
what
Australians.
Do you do with them?
Oh, sorry, the Tasmanians.
What do you do? What do you do with that? What happened?
We move in, just ran the nice bits around the outside.
You pretend to become friends with them, tell them that they're wrong about their lives, force them to be more European, and then kill them if they don't.
Well, I mean, the other thing
not that the Europeans were the only ones that do that, because Americans are really, really good about they learn from the best, basically. It's
and you also have to factor in the fact that they pretty much got kicked out of England because they were so religiously extreme. And then they went to Holland and saw black people walking around, and they say, "Oh no, not in this place, not here. Take us to the new land where we can be as radical as we want." And guess what?
They went to the king and be like, there's a plot of land over there, and somebody has to do something with it.
Send the crazies.
Let's go over there, build our own little village, and then kill women for trying to be women.
Heaven forbid a young girl got her period back then, because she would have been fucking burned as a witch. The religiosity of this country is so disgusting.
To your point, prior to me jumping off quickly, the Australian accent is basically a derivative of the Cockney accent, because we sent so many London prisoners to Australia and they developed their own accent. The same reason that
but first off, how did you get Australia? That's the first thing.
We just rocked up.
There wasn't anybody else living there.
No, them people, they lived on the south coast.
They
weren't doing anything.
They were uncivilized, right? You had to civilize them.
Yeah, and they were very brown. Very brown.
Yeah.
So,
And they didn't have a flag.
Exactly.
They did not put the flag in the ground.
So the English could just walk up there and go like, "This is our land," and they were like, "But do you have a flag?"
And they went, "Yes, we fucking do."
Somebody's been watching Eddie Izzard.
Yes.
But do you have
Do
a
you
flag?
have a flag?
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, yes. So Mikey, you were entirely right. It is that religious need to spread your religion and to follow the religion to the letter of the law, and doesn't matter the men, women, and children that you have to murder in order to do that.
And the worst thing is, it's not even in their fucking book. It's not even in the fucking Bible. The Bible doesn't outlaw abortion. It actually encourages it in the Old Testament.
It encourages it. You have to drink the dirty water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually encourages it in the Old
Testament. There's
so.
a recipe in there.
Yep.
Right.
For a forced miscarriage.
Right.
Yep.
But
there's actually a recipe. It tells you what to put in it, where to go.
Yep.
And that it is not just an abortion pill. Basically, it is a forced abortion pill. You take it to your mistress or your slave, and you pour it down their throat.
So, guys, I think we do have to end. I want just to say a few things before we do, because I'm really not feeling too good.
Okay.
But
you didn't.
Loser.
All research, all the science behind this shows us that banning abortion does not lower abortion rates. It's just abortion safety, right?
Yep.
So
banning safe abortions.
Yep. So it just doesn't make any sense from that perspective. That Texas heartbeat bill is just idiotic, because basically what you're listening to is a pulsating embryo. And it's a bit of a stretch to call that a heartbeat. Technically, yes.
So are you saying that these anti-abortion activists are lying to us?
Yes.
They wouldn't.
That doesn't sound correct, because I believe that even the Holy Book explains that lying is sinful.
No, they would never do that. Just like those fuckers lied to get on the fuckers lied to get on the fucking Supreme Court. They promised that they weren't gonna fucking touch Roe v. Wade, and that was the first fucking thing they did. Fucking thing they did.
Yeah.
The thing that I think that we're not looking at is that we have become complacent. As Mikey started talking about, people wanted to go to the circus, so they voted for the reality TV guy because they wanted, to change things up a bit. Well, fucking go ride a roller coaster. Go to Disneyland if you want some excitement. Don't play with politics. Don't, go to Tijuana and go on a fucking 2-week bender. Do something, but don't play around and just like, oh, this is going to be funny. No, it wasn't funny. And it still isn't funny. And now you have a very conservative, for me, very weird court, right? So we have a problem over here as well, but it's not within like the court systems and within the people who are highly educated. We know that the people who vote for the more conservative and Christian Democrat parties and stuff like that.
It's societal.
It's not those. There are very few. The highly educated Nazi voters are few and far between. There's not many of them, because when you understand society, you can see that this doesn't really work. I think the problem that America has is that you don't have a John McCain anymore. John McCain is gone, and his whole. I don't agree with him, but at least he was honest. At least he was somewhat dignified. At least he had some pride in what he did, and I respect him for that, even though I don't agree with his politics. And
our biggest problem right now.
That generation of politicians are gone. Now you have sycophants that are just in it for to be there, right?
What we have is we have our politicians, exactly what you said, are leaving or dying off. And then what we are getting are the people who just think that they're going to do exactly what they want to do. And it's hard because we need politicians. We need people that know how the system works, know how to get people on their side, know how to word things correctly, and know how to speak to their constituents. And if you don't have that, you end up with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is not a politician. She knows nothing about politics. The only thing she knows how to do
is get people to listen to her.
Is call us libtards.
She knows how to mouth breathe. That's about it.
That's all she knows how to do. And this is the thing that angers me, because I have been involved in politics since I was a kid. I made lawn signs, handmade lawn signs for my friends, for our family friends, who was running for city council, and he got it, and he got mayor. I was canvassing at a young age. I was involved in city organizations at a young age. And to know that all this work that I have gone through, where I learned how to vote. I watched my mother vote when they were those cardboard voting booths
on a desk.
And like, I was there. I watched her vote. Voting is important to me. When I was 18, I registered to vote the next week. It sickens me that people are taking the process of voting and politics so lightly. Again, the reality TV star with the funny hair, he's not a politician. He has no skill whatsoever. But that was funny, because we don't take politics seriously. We turn, I mean, I'm not saying that like comedy is the only thing. Like, we've turned it into a joke.
No, we've turned it into the X Factor.
Exactly.
We've turned it into Britain's Got Talent and all that kind of shit.
Who's
and it
the better
winds my
looking one?
fucking life up.
Who's the better looking one? Who's the one that makes me laugh when I hear their voice?
Yeah.
That's why there was so much.
You're so right.
About like Hillary Clinton being the old white lady who's boring as hell. And that was her, you know, and even Sleepy Joe. Like, I'm sorry, but a politician shouldn't be interesting. They should be intelligent.
No.
They should be able to speak in clear, concise language so that we understand it.
Brenna, just to slightly push back on that. Sleepy Joe was then adopted as a narrative by the right-wing media, and they perpetuated that.
Yeah.
And then it became part of the consciousness of America. And I was just like, Sleepy Joe, where the fuck did that come from? Oh, this mouth piece at the top.
It's also a case of finding the one that says the thing that you want to hear, not the thing you need to hear, not the truth, but the thing that you want to hear, right?
Jartan, you're 100% right. 100% right.
There's a great episode of Family Guy in which Lois runs for mayor, and all she does
9/11
is say those talking points. Unwed Teenage Mothers is probably my favorite of them, because there's no substance to what she is saying.
Right.
There's nothing regarding 9/11. Bin Laden's at the bottom of the lake, so we have to dredge it and clean it out. There is no substance to what she is saying, but she is saying exactly what they want to hear.
Yeah.
That's how she got elected. That's how she got things done.
Yep.
There is nothing. These are those talking points. that have been going on for decades now, especially during the Reagan era. They hit hard with those talking points.
Yeah.
When Fox News came out, they hit hard with talking points. And now it's just so easy, especially with social media, where you can mute the things you don't want to hear and you can get notifications on those talking points.
It's funny how the English speaking
Guys, please do continue.
Sorry.
I'm jumping off.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
It's been a good show.
No.
Take care, guys.
Jatan, love to you and Val.
You guys,
dude,
you did great today. You worked hard.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, I'm really working.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Sleep
No,
tight.
Val, show a wave. Show a wave.
Yeah.
There we are.
There
Hey,
you
hot
go.
stuff. Oh,
Look at you beautiful human.
sexy.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye, mate.
Yeah.
Adios.
Right, go on, let's talk about him.
But I mean, the essence of this is that. What?
You know that's mine. You know that's mine, Wayne. Pay up.
I know. Just give
Put
it.
it in the jar. You know what to do.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, like these are kind of those serious things that we do need to vote for real things. Yeah. And the problem is that there is clearly there's a difference between the sides of this debate. Mm-hmm. There's one side, yes, not 100%, but what they're doing is they what is it? They have the ideas but not the methods. Like right. The Democrats have the ideas but not the methods.
Yeah.
While the Republicans have the methods but they don't have the ideas. And the problem is that we need to stop thinking about what we say this in a concise manner. Just because somebody says what you think is the right thing to do, mm-hmm. Freedom, liberty, life, love, whatever these things are, that doesn't mm-hmm. make what they're saying what is needed in this. We could lose Obamacare.
Yeah,
because that's not a fundamental right. Healthcare is not a fundamental right.
Is it not?
Not in the Constitution. It's not in the Constitution, and this is the thing we're battling. We're battling the Constitution right now.
Brenna, move to the UK.
I know.
Like honestly, there's so many fucking trap doors and bullshitty mm-hmm. shit going on. It's like when you like high level chess people like watch other people play and they're like, oh, he's got him in 10.
Yeah.
We're mated in like 6 or 7 at this point. Like it's done. Like that was it.
Yeah.
Because the thing that fucks me off is there's a Michelle Obama quote, when they go low, we go high. No, you need to go low. You need to go lower.
You need to go hard.
You need to cut them off at the knees, because you can sit there and be all morally like beautiful, but the problem is they've already grouped so many people with them.
So
you can sit there on your high horse, but you've only got 2 people with you.
It doesn't matter anymore, Wayne.
Yeah.
Because they've already fucking rigged the fucking game so that the Supreme Court is theirs. That's done.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So the Trump thing, without Trump, those idiots aren't getting Ted Cruz isn't getting that through.
No.
Marco Rubio's not getting that through.
I think what you need to do is do that whole thing of you lie down with dogs, you get fleas. So call them cunts. Fuck them. Call them cunts. They will sit there and go, all these liberal pricks doing this, that, and the other. Okay, well, you want to go with that? You're a cunt. And this is why you're a cunt.
Well, name calling's not going to change the Constitution. That's where we're at. The Constitution has to be changed.
No. I'm being metaphorical, Mikey. instead of being all highfalutin and like proud. No, okay. Well, do you want me to come down there and like, have a wrestling match with you?
This is why I said that we need Parliament, because we need to be able to shout at them. We cannot shout. There are rules about attacking people from the floor.
Yeah, we have rules too, and Boris Johnson always calls Keir Starmer Captain Hindsight. Oh, Captain Hindsight over here, Captain Hindsight, Captain Hindsight, and I'm like, Captain Hindsight is calling you out for the shit you did wrong. You absolute fop-head, adulterous cunt. And he uses ad hominems and then says, "Oh, I'm being perfectly honourable." No, you're using ad hominems. You're a prick. Fuck off. Sorry.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. There's a few things that need to get done. I was going to talk to. We ran out of time, but we need to talk about the Equal Rights Amendment that was not passed.
Still not passed.
And not adopted.
Let's go to that then.
That could save us from all this shit.
Yep.
But it was deemed too radical.
America.
Which is, now looking back at it, right? People thought it was too radical. It's not radical at all. It's perfectly acceptable to maintain the rights of everybody equally. And now we're all going to lose our rights.
How can America have in the same news cycle a debate about the Redskins logo and at the same time Roe versus Wade?
Welcome to America.
How can they be in the same periphery?
Our sports teams are more important than our rights.
Always have been, always will be.
This is the American way. We care more about the relationship between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard than we do about our own goddamn relationships, because it's entertaining. It's an easy debate that we have. Whose side are you on?
Exactly. Everything is binary. Everything is fucking binary. And when in reality, most of us in the real world live in that grey area. They live in the nuance. But the thing that's most profitable is the binary. How can we carry on like this?
Well, if you have any ideas, leave it in the chat. We're out of time, you guys.
Please do.
So for me, Mikey Famine, Brenda Duncan, Wayne Maker, Wayne Lynch, and Jartin, thank you guys for hanging out with us. This has been the Bin Podcast. Let's get out of here.